Hi everyone. I decided to tumble some glass, so I'm not feeling too good this morning, but I thought I'd power through this and see what we can do. So the way I decided to do this is I was out in the woods and I ran across an old dump, just a small pile of garbage from a long time ago, but had this bottle. It's a brown bottle, but kind of reddish, but real thick glass. This is the one that I really liked. It's got a light blue color to it, and again, it's really thick. And this is a very pale purple. So I gathered up some other bottles. I wanted some greens, so I decided Rolling Rock would be a good choice. I decided I don't like Rolling Rock beer. You'd think I would, but doesn't taste very good. So anyhow, the first thing I want to do is remove the bottom out of some of these bottles, and I was going to try to get. Oops, that one's got a big indentation. I'm going to try to get the bottom to break off smoothly, so I don't have corners like on this one. So. My friend Bill gave me an idea for doing this, and I'm going to try it out. So, what you're supposed to do is put a nail into the bottle, and it's supposed to be a larger nail than that, but that's the biggest nail I had. And then you shake it violently, and it's supposed to take out the bottom really nicely. So let's see how this goes. Hopefully it falls in here. Got chips coming off. Alright, that does not work. Got a little hole in the corner there. Let's try again. Nope. There we go. Yeah, that worked pretty well. Alright, so for my next trick, I need to set up some other stuff, and I'm going to feel like a magician here. I'm going to try another method for removing the bottom. Alright, for my next trick, I've wrapped a piece of yarn around here and soaked it in charcoal lighter fluid, and now I'm going to set it on fire. I can get my lighter to work. There we go. So the idea here is to get this nice and hot and then plunge it into ice water, or snow water in my case, and it should break the bottom off. So we'll see. Pick a windy day to do this, I guess. Heard a break. Well, sort of worked. Okay, we'll call that half a success. We got two little pieces off. And since I've got lighter fluid out, there you go. Alright, I decided to go with the nail method for the rest of these. So I've got the bottoms broken out, and I'm just going to throw them in this bag here. And hopefully this will contain the shards pretty well. So I'll just keep doing that until I get them down to the size pieces I want. Okay, so I got all my glass all broken up and sorted by color, and I'm going to do two different things. I'm going to do a batch of beach glass, or imitation beach glass. Not that I really like beach glass, but I just thought it'd be fun to try. I've never tried doing that before. And in this barrel, I'm just going to try to tumble glass and make it nice and shiny with smooth edges so you don't have to wear gloves and you won't cut yourself. So, let's start with the beach glass. I picked up just some beach sand. It's got rocks. There's some bigger rocks in there than what you can see. And I'm just going to pour some in here. So I've got maybe 2 inches on the bottom. You can see there's, like I said, bigger rocks in there. I figure that's what's on the beach. That's what I got. I just went to the beach and got some, and that's what I have. So I'm going to throw in some of that. Throw in some of this. And I'm going to go heavy on the sand and light on the glass, because I figure that's what it's like on the beach. There's mostly sand and not very much glass. Put in just 1 piece of this purple stuff and a handful of green. Okay, and then the rest of it's going to be sand. Yeah, let's put it all in there. Alright, so this is filled maybe 2/3 full. And I'm going to put water right up to the top, maybe even a little bit over the top. I figure in the lake there's mostly water and you know, not as much sand as it's moving around. It's probably got lots of water. There's not going to be any grit in there. It's just going to be sand, glass, and water. And this one, I'm going to put in a bunch of glass. Let's just put in all the brown. Some blue. Getting pretty full. All right, in this one, I'm going to use, this is silicon carbide 6090. I think I'm going to go 4 tablespoons. And I'll just top that off with water, and I think I'll put water up like with rocks, just a little below the top of the glass there. A little more glass. Okay, I'm filling this up because I figure some of it's going to break and it's going to settle down, so hopefully that'll be good. A little more. There. All right, so I'm going to throw these on the tumbler and probably check them in less than a week, probably about 4 or 5 days, and I'll open them up and see what's going on in there. So I'll see you then. It's been 5 days, and I took the barrels off the tumbler, and I forgot to mention something, and I forgot to check on it myself, but hopefully you can see this. This is bulged out in the bottom. When you're tumbling glass or obsidian, which is just volcanic glass, you got to be careful because sometimes I think there's like little gas bubbles stuck in the glass, and when you tumble it, that gas is released and makes the bottom of the barrel bulge out. It expands inside here, so you can actually blow the top off the barrel. You can see that's not even sitting level. So be careful of that. You should really check every day, and just if it's bulging like that, you should let the pressure off. So, let's see what's inside here. Alright, so we'll just grab a piece, some of that blue stuff. So this is the one that's all glass, and I'll empty this whole thing out and check it out here in a second. But the idea here is I want to get this nice and rounded before I tumble it till it's shiny again. So that's like frosted glass now. Looks kind of like beach glass, but probably a little too perfect for beach glass. So let's just rinse off a couple more here and just take a look. So I'll go through these one at a time and see which ones are ready to move on. If the edges are all rounded off nicely, I'll move these to the next stage. But I've got a bunch more to put in first, so I'll do another round of this and then move on from there. So that's how that's looking. You can see it's kind of frosted. Most of these will probably be ready to move on to the next stage. So let's check out the imitation beach glass. Oops. Whoa, that's some foamy stuff. Wasn't expecting that. All right, so this one's mostly sand and a little bit of glass. Oh, there's that same kind of blue stuff. And it's looking pretty shiny, which isn't the goal here. The goal is to make this one look like frosted. Well, that didn't work. Are the edges still sharp? The edges are not super sharp, but they're not super rounded either. Look at the difference. That sand didn't do a darn thing. That's really surprising. All right, so new strategy here. What do I do? I'm going to probably take out some of the sand and make this a little bit more of a rough ride in there. Maybe fill the whole thing half full of sand and glass. I'll probably throw some more rocks in there too, so it's still half full. So rock, sand, and glass, and give these a little bit more of a beating, because that's not what I wanted. And I don't want it super perfect like this, because beach glass isn't perfect. All right, so I'm going to refill these and put them in for another probably 5 days or so and see what happens. I'll check back with you then. It's been another 5 days, so let's see what's inside this one. This is the one that's just tumbling glass and silicon carbide grit. This is what came out of that one last week or 5 days ago. This is, you know, nicely frosted and ready for the next stage. So I'm just processing more glass through there. That'll turn out like it did last week. So what I really want to see is what's in the sand one. So remember last time I put about half full of sand and glass, and I threw in a handful of bigger rocks just to see if that would scuff it up anymore. I have no idea what this is going to look like, but the reason it didn't tumble well last week is because the sand isn't very hard. Glass is 5.5 on the Mohs scale. Sand is, I would guess, around 7. I think it'd be a lot of little pieces of quartz in there, but it probably rounds off. Unlike silicon carbide that stays sharp, it actually breaks into little sharp pieces. So anyhow, here we are. We've got foam again. And let's pull out a piece of glass if I can find one. And I think we have the same thing as last time. Oh no, it's starting to scuff up a little bit. Oh, that's much better. All right, so it is now frosted. The edges are rounded off a little better. Pull out another piece, see what it looks like. It's a big chunk of something. Okay, this is coming along. Still's got a ways to go. So I'll just put it back in and let it roll some more. But I think this is kind of doing what I wanted to do now. So when you fill a barrel way up, it's a much more gentle ride for the rocks or whatever's in there. And if you have it emptier, it's a little more violent inside there. Yep, that's frosting nicely. So it's got a ways to go, like I said. It's not quite as rounded as I want it to be. I might throw some more rocks in there to kind of ding it up a little more, because this shouldn't come out real perfect. It should be a little bit banged up. So anyhow, this is more of a success than last time, and I'll keep working on it. So I'll see you in another 5 days. Well, I have all the glass that's going to end up shiny done with the first stage. I really don't know what I was thinking when I broke up this much glass, because this is going to take forever to polish up, but we'll deal with that in a minute. First, I want to show you the beach glass, or my imitation beach glass. So I've got some, this is the stuff that I tumbled, and this is actual stuff that I found on the beach. So I want to compare the two right now and kind of decide where to go from here. Let's look at the real beach glass first. So here's a marble. I'm not tumbling marbles, but I just thought that was kind of cool. This piece is pretty big for a piece of beach glass. I imagine if it was in the lake for a lot longer, it'd probably break in half and get smaller as it went. Here's a good piece, I think. So you notice here we've got kind of nice uniform frosting there, but then you have these little chips that aren't frosted yet. So they kind of continue to take a beating, and they don't get real uniformly frosted like this. See, like right there. Here's part of a Coke bottle. A little shinier on the inside. It's a little harder for stuff to get in there. The convex part gets more frosted, except in here, where it's concave there. You know, that's actual beach glass. Here's a nice piece of purple stuff. So the edges look pretty much the same, but right there, there's a bigger, newer chip. All right, so here's the stuff I've been doing. This one I think looks pretty good. It's frosted, and then you got some more recent chipping in some spots. So I think I'm going to call that one good. Here's another one. So you can see a little chip right there. See, that one looks pretty good too. And this one, when I broke this piece of glass, you can see a little bit right there. Can you see there's a crack inside, right in the middle there? There are worse cracks than that. So this when it went in the last time was about twice as wide. And you can see this side is looking pretty good. And then that's a real fresh break right there. And then there's this piece. Looks good. I like that there. But then this side almost looks like somebody napped it, like when you're making an arrowhead or something. So real fresh break along that side. So I want to smooth that up a little bit. But here's a piece from the same original piece of glass. This is one that I've been tumbling to eventually get shiny. So this has been in with just regular tumbling grit and trying to take it a little bit easy on it. That does not look like beach glass at all. And you compare that to something like this, and this is way too smooth. So that's why I've been using actual sand and rocks and stuff to try to make this rather than tumbling grit. So that's got to go in for some more. So let's put these in. I'll show you what I'm going to do, and we'll try to get this to come out a little bit better. I think one more run in the tumbler should have this stuff done. So this is the stuff I'm going to do a little bit longer. Say 3-pound Lortone barrel, and it's filled maybe a third of the way. And so to that, I'm going to add a few rocks. So just some bigger rocks, and then some sand. So sand with some little pebbles. And it's probably a little over half full right now. And I'll add a little bit of water to that. Not going to go too heavy on the water. Maybe up to about the top of the sand, and then we'll let her go from there. So I'm going to run that for, I'll probably run it for 5 days and then check on it. Okay, over at the sink, I'm going to fill up the Lotto barrel, and I'm going to finish the glass that I want to turn shiny in this. So the first thing I'm going to do is fill the Lotto barrel half full of ceramic media. Something like that. So approximately half full. I don't know if you can see in there. And then I'm going to fill it up with water. Then we're going to take our glass and put the glass in there. Some of the stuff's a little bigger. Won't go through the funnel. Oh, that doesn't fit. That's a bummer. All right, now I'm going to pour out as much water as I can. Oops, letting some ceramic out there too. All right, I'll throw these ceramics in, and we'll take it over to the tumbler and get her going. So let's turn the tumbler on. I'll show you what I'm going to add. First I'm adding 1 tablespoon of borax, and this will just thicken up the slurry a little bit and give it a little gentler ride. I don't usually put this in the 220 stage, but I am today just because it's glass. Then I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of 220 grit silicon carbide. With rocks I usually use 2 tablespoons, but I don't think I'm going to need that with the glass because it's a little softer. And I'm going to let that run for 2 days. That's what the slurry looks like after 2 days. And I'm just going to add a little dish soap and a little water. And that makes it a little easier to clean it out later. Okay, let's see what they look like dried off. So they're still very frosted like they should be. The next stage is going to be back into the lotto with 1 tablespoon of borax and a ½ teaspoon of aluminum oxide 500 grit. And they're going to be in there for 4 days this time. I just took the beach glass out of the 3-pound barrel and I've messed it up again. This is more of a challenge than I thought it was going to be. I've actually got it too nice now. The beach glass should look a little more banged up, and this looks a little too smooth. So I think the key is to put it in a bigger barrel so it has farther to fall. Not too much sand and rocks in there, because if you put too much in, that cushions it also. So you got to get just the right balance between banging it up too much and not enough. So I'm going to keep trying. But before I put it back in the barrel, let's take a little closer look at it. Okay, so I just took a sample of each of the 3 types of beach glass I've got. This is the real stuff. This is my fake stuff that I took out last time. And this is the stuff that I ran for an additional 5 days, but probably shouldn't have. So these are the best beach glasses I have. I think that's what it's supposed to look like when it's all completely tumbled. Sometimes you get beach glass that it needs to be in the water a little while longer. So that's what I'm after right there. Here's the stuff that I'm pretty happy with. It's not perfect, but I think it's pretty good. And then this pile, this is the stuff that I tumbled for the extra 5 days and just looks too smooth to me. So let's just compare 3 kind of similar rocks or pieces of glass. They're all green. This is the real stuff. This is my imitation beach glass, and this is the one I tumbled for a little bit too long. See how that one's just too shiny? These look pretty close. This one's better, but this one's not too far off. So I'm going to run that for another run, a little more rough ride than last time. Well, this is turning out nice. Very shiny already. I said I was going to put it in for 4 days, but I ended up putting it in for 6 days just because I got busy and just left it running for a couple extra days. This is interesting. It's the mouth of the beer bottle, and it is just jam-packed with ceramics. So I'm going to have to work at getting those out of there. I don't know if I can get them out without breaking the bottle, but I'm going to try my best. So at this point, these are going into the Lotto tumbler for another 4 days, this time with 1 tablespoon of borax and aluminum oxide polish. So when I use polish, I use good quality polish. The stuff that's like 1200 grit aluminum oxide that they call polish from some companies is not really polish. This is going to be like 14,000 grit or 1 micron polish. So I'll see you when those are done. All right, the shiny glass is all finished. I'm pretty happy with the way this turned out. It's real shiny here. The funny part is, the part that surprised me is, since this is all concave, well, it's convex on this side, concave on this side, the concave parts are not all that shiny. They're kind of shiny, but not nearly as shiny as the outside part. So With it being such a gentle curve like that, I'm really surprised that I had all this ceramic in the barrel with this. You would think it would still rub on the inside pretty well since it's such a, like I said, such a wide, shallow concave part, but it didn't. So a piece like this that's convex everywhere, there's no indentations, that's real shiny all the way around. But any of these other pieces, it's shiny on one side and sort of shiny on the other side. So that's all the effort I'm going to put into this. I'm not really all that interested in having a bunch of shiny glass, so I'm not going to run this through again. And I still have a big tub of other stuff. I'm not sure if I'll run it through the tumbler or just leave it frosted. But anyhow, shiny stuff's done. Now I just got to wait for the other stuff to get done, the beach glass. Well, I just ran this for 3 more days, and it looks pretty much the same as when I put it in. It's still pretty smooth, maybe a little more dinged up, but not much. So this video is becoming something different than what I had originally planned. I thought, tumbling glass, no problem. I'll just make some beach glass. I'll put some sand and rocks in, I'll tumble it, it'll be easy. Boy, was I wrong. This has definitely become a challenge for me, so I'm going to just continue trying different things. This is how I learned how to tumble rocks, or one of the ways is you try stuff. If something doesn't work, you try something different and you learn from it. So even if this is a failure in the end, I should know more than when I started. So here's what I'm trying next. Well, there's a little water in here. I thought these were pretty much dry, but they're more or less dry. I just took the sand and rocks and stuff that were in the last one, and I screened it through this. This is a gold classifier. For panning gold, you run your stuff through here. I'm not a gold panner really. But this is a 1/8 inch mesh. So everything 1/8 inch or smaller washed out, and I'm left with this coarser stuff. So there's a little tiny bit of water in there. I'd say this is a little less than half full. And I'm going to put my glass in here and run it without a bunch of water this time. Will that work? I don't know, but I'm going to find out, and you are too. So we'll keep trying. See you in a few days. Well, this is getting kind of funny. At this point, after another 3 days in the tumbler, this is actually getting shiny now. It's like stuff in my basement just thinks it has to get shiny. So there's little pits in here, but it's actually gotten a little bit shiny. So I'm running out of ideas. I'm going to throw in a little bit of sand. And I'm going to leave the water out, so there's hardly any water in there. Oh, by the way, there was a whole bunch of foam in it this time. I actually took a couple handfuls out. It was completely full of foam. So I just looked at these two, but the rest of it should probably look the same. So I'm going to try another 3 days like that and see what happens. Wish me luck. Well, it's been another 3 days. I'm about to open this up, and to be honest, I'm not feeling optimistic, but let's take a look together. Oh, boy. Well, something different happened with that. Remember, I didn't put any water in here. They were wet, but there was no added water. Last time it came out really foamy, and I wish I would have shown you last week because there's just foam everywhere. You saw it after I scooped a little foam out, but well, it's different. So I'm going to run over and rinse a couple pieces off, and I'll be right back to show you what the results are. Okay, here it is all cleaned off. Took a little while to scrub it off because with the grit all dry like that, it was really stuck on pretty hard. But as I was scrubbing, it gave me time to think about what had happened. So last time we looked at these, they were kind of shiny. And I think I know what happened there. So I had taken all the sand out and just left small pebbles and bigger rocks in there. And in the past, on, I hate to admit it, but more than one occasion, probably 2 or 3 times, I have put barrels on the tumbler in the course stage and forgotten to add grit. So they just went in with water and the rocks that were in the middle of the course stage. And whenever I've done that, they've come out slightly shiny after a week of tumbling like that. Just in the rotary tumbler, I thought they were in coarse grit and there was no grit. So I think what happens is there's a little bit of grit left on the rocks and it's pretty fine, and it gets even finer through the week and it ends up polishing the rocks a little bit. So I think that's what happened with this glass last time. So by putting the sand back in, it's not shiny anymore. I took the shine off because I had that coarser sand in there acting like tumbling grit would. This is still not very good. Here's what I've got now, and here's a piece of actual beach glass. So this is still more coarse looking, like more rough, and this is a little bit too smooth. But I think I'm calling it quits. I'm going to admit defeat. The glass has beat me. So let me just show you one other piece. This is from earlier. I took some out a few times ago. So this is probably the best stuff I came up with. It looks a little closer to the real stuff. So I should have just stopped it all then, I guess. So here's... At that time, there was some that was too broken up like this. There were too many sharp parts, so I tried to fix it a little bit, and I should have just left it. So this is the best stuff I came up with. If you have any ideas, or if you've ever polished or made beach glass and actually compared to the real thing to see if you did a good job, I'd love to hear any ideas you have, because I'm stumped at this point. I just don't know what else to try. So thanks for watching. Sorry the video got a little bit long. And I'll see you next time.